Hi everyone, my name is Catherine and I'm here from the Aurora Public Library to tell you about some amazing books we've got in our collection, and you're more than welcome to borrow any of these from me today. So let's get started. The first up is The Giver by Lois Lowry. Jonas is an 1119 to be specific. Oh, you do not understand? I have caused confusion. I apologize to my community. Let me explain. Jonas was the 19th child born in his year. Now he is going to be 12 and attending the most important ceremony of his life, the ceremony of 12s. This is where every 12-year-old in the community gets assigned their assignment for life. Will he be a street sweeper, a doctor, a pilot, a landscaper, or a nurturer? One by one, the other 11s receive their assignments, but Jonas is skipped. At the end of the ceremony, it is revealed that Jonas has not been assigned. He has instead been selected for the most important and highest honor in all of the community. He is to be the receiver of all of the memories of the community. Nervously, Jonas meets the old receiver, now called the Giver, for the very first time. And slowly, the Giver imparts all of his memories to Jonas. And Jonas soon learns all of the things that his community is missing. Things like color, sunshine, snow, even hills. But he also learns about pain and sorrow and war for the very first time. Jonas begins to question whether or not his community is happy and has given up happiness for security and safety. When Jonas finds there may be a way to give these memories back to his community, will he be brave enough to try? Find out in The Giver by Lois Lowry. The next book I have for you is called The Game of Love and Death by Martha Brockenbrough. On a cold winter's night in 1920, two babies receive an unexpected visitor. One of them, a visit from love, and the other from death, each selecting their player for the game. This game has been played for centuries, and death always wins it. But this time, love has changed the outcome. He has selected a new goal, and the two players must be able to show courage in the face of unsurmountable hardship. With two rolls of the dice, love and death decide the end date of the game, July 7th, 1937. 17 years later, America is in the middle of the Great Depression. For African American Flora, life has always been difficult, and she doesn't know any different. But she finds great happiness and joy fixing and flying planes, and also singing and dancing to jazz at her family's nightclub. For Henry, an upper class white boy, everything seems perfect. He's an excellent scholar, a very talented baseball player, and a musician, and he's guaranteed a college scholarship. But everything is not as it seems. Henry is an orphan and entirely reliant on his foster family's generosity. This is the Thorne family, very powerful and wealthy. When Henry accompanies his foster brother Ethan to an airfield, he finds and meets Flora for the first time and is instantly smitten. Each night, he goes to Flora's family's nightclub and watches her perform, and slowly the two fall in love to the sounds of live jazz. But remember, these two are merely players in the game, and love and death can and will impart any chances they have to sway the game in their own direction. Can Flora and Henry outwit love and death, or will they become unwitting players in their game? Find out in The Game of Love and Death by Martha Brockenbrough. The next book I have is called Trouble is a Friend of Mine by Stephanie Trombley. Of course I didn't like Digby when I first met him. No one does. He's rude. He doesn't ever take no for an answer. And he treats you like a book he's already read and knows the ending to, even if you yourself don't yet. Digby is the first person that Zoe meets when she moves to River Heights from New York City to be with her divorced mother. They meet at a truancy meeting, and Digby soon involves Zoe in an elaborate lie about a group project that they're working on together. And soon, Zoe gets caught up in Digby's other schemes, one of which involves breaking into a doctor's office, and Zoe ends up arrested. She knows after that she should be absolutely done with Digby, but she can't help being drawn into his schemes again. And Henry's super cute friend, Digby's super cute friend Henry, is along for the ride as well, which is certainly keeping Zoe's interest. When she finally finds out why he wanted to break into that doctor's office and learns it's to do with a missing 16-year-old girl and maybe even his own sister who disappeared 8 years ago, Zoe knows she can't say no to Digby anymore. And so she accompanies him on more adventures. Will Zoe and Digby ever be able to find out who is involved in the story of the missing girls? And will Zoe ever get a date with Henry? Find out in Stephanie Tremblay's Trumbull is a Friend of Mine. The next book I have is a graphic novel called Giant Days by John Allison, and it's the story of 3 girls who just met at university. Shy, sweet, homeschool Daisy, drama queen Esther, and practical and sensible Susan. The 3 met just 3 weeks ago at the very first day of university and soon become very best friends, fighting off snooty private school girls and rescuing Esther from a black metal society will do that. But this is their very first time away from being home, and although it may feel like they're grown up, they're not. Being in residence means having to deal with hundreds of other sick students, and when the girls all come down with the flu, they learn a valuable lesson in not taking off-brand Polish medication that they buy at the dollar store, and other things are in store for them as well. Esther's name is dragged all over the internet when she's included on a fresh meat list by some sexist lads who include her on the hottest list of new freshmen. And Daisy has to navigate her very first crush on the most popular girl in one of her classes. And practical Susan? Well, she sees her arch nemesis McGraw across campus and is in a rage. Can these girls figure out their romantic relationships, battle the school administration, and deal with the stress of the school year? Find out in Giant Days by John Allison. And finally, I have for you Noggin by John Corey Whaley. Before I begin, let me just say that this book is a little bit weird and a little bit ridiculous, so don't say I didn't warn you. Noggin is the story of Travis, a pretty regular 16-year-old boy who for the last year has been battling leukemia. The last year has been pretty horrible for Travis, and he kind of just wants it to be done with. The chemo, the radiation, the puking, he's over it. So when a doctor proposes cryogenics, that Travis chops off his head and freezes it, he actually considers it. And he does. Worst case scenario, he's already dead. Best case scenario, in 10 to 15 years, the doctors say they may have the technology to revive him. His parents, his best friend, even his girlfriend, none of them even believed that he would ever come back. I mean, maybe they had a little bit of hope, but even Travis doesn't really believe it's going to work. But it does. And this is the story of what happens 5 years later when Travis wakes up in a hospital room surrounded by doctors and nurses, his mom and dad bawling, and it feels like someone has shoved an entire bag of cotton balls soaked in vinegar down his throat. Now Travis has to deal with having his old brain in his new body. And what has happened in the past 5 years? You see, Travis went to sleep when he was 16 years old, and it feels like no time at all has passed. And when he wakes up, he's still 16, but everyone else has aged 5 years, and there's a big difference between 16 and 21. And now Travis is going to have to figure out what has happened and how much has changed in those 5 years. That's Noggin by John Corey Whaley. So those are all the books I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for coming in, and I hope to see you all in the library where I can give you lots more recommendations for some great books. See ya!